It's week 15, day 101 of my full-time chronic pain rehabilitation journey. I'm Jason, and today I'm going to talk about the biggest blunder I've made of my entire journey, my sleep plan. I'm going to go over my revisions with you, and hopefully this time I'll get it right. First though, a quick status update. I slept for 9 hours last night, which was a godsend. I had to take medication to do it though. I realized that I needed a clear head to update my sleep plan, and so I took some pharmaceuticals to that end. I did, however, make it to the gym and recovery center. I had planned to take today off, but I was able to go and do my workout, which means I got 6 days of working out in this week, which is optimal for me. I had a really cool experience with the new recovery center technician that I go to. I got to tell my entire story to her. I'm getting really good at this because I've covered it with so many people now that I can kind of just get right down to the essence and be really, really quick about it. And I shared all of that with her and just all of my insights and my journey, and it was a really good conversation. I felt like myself. I felt happy doing it, and she mentioned at the end spontaneously that I appeared or seemed joyous to her, which I think is a validation of the change of my countenance. I am now a different person. I feel happy most of the time. I feel joyous most of the time. That may have something to do with the fact that I'm not working at the moment, but I don't think that's all it is. I believe I have fundamentally changed as a person. My outlook on life is different. I am now happy. On to today's topic, which is the biggest blunder I made in my journey, which is my sleep plan and how I intend to fix it. I think this is a good case study for you because you are going to blunder as well, and you might be able to avoid some of those blunders by looking at some of the things I did wrong and hopefully improve your plan with some of the things that I did right. All right, there was a plan 1.0, the first version that I had. It was hastily put together, and it wasn't really based upon me studying how to come off sleep medication so much as a desire to get off of them by a specific date. There was a date in May for an ayahuasca ceremony in southern Utah that I wanted to take one of my brothers to, and this drove everything. And they technically want you to be off all medications by the time you do that. The first time I did this back in November, I did not do that at all. I just ignored their guidelines and went anyway. This time I wanted to do it right. And so I had 2 weeks to detox from my medications, which again is completely insufficient. Now that I've researched this, it's totally insufficient. It can take a month or more to come off of a sleep medication. The tapering time scale is much longer than a week, which is all I tried to do to taper off of my meds. Completely insufficient, completely backwards. Plan 2.0 was kind of hastily contrived, but I think it was headed in the right direction. I realized several weeks later that this wasn't working and something had to change. So I had 2 sleep medications I was on originally. I've completely gotten off one, and I wanted to stay off the second, but I decided that using the second medication to taper would probably be a better strategy, and increasing my taper schedule from merely a week to 3 weeks would make a lot more sense. And so that was essentially Plan 2.0. However, in a moment of idealism, I threw out my second sleep medication because I was too afraid that I would use it and become dependent on it again, and so I just tossed it, which in retrospect probably wasn't the best idea. So that leads me to Plan 3.0. This one I've thought through. I think it'll work, and it has all of the elements that were wrong in the first 2 plans corrected, and I believe it will illustrate what a good sleep plan or a good sleep detox plan looks like. Okay, I'm going to maintain and improve my sleep best practices. I have 2 videos on these. One is on insomnia and how to deal with that. It's day 85. The second is my ultimate sleep guide, which is day 79. So all of those things still hold, and I'm going to be continuing to practice them and double down and make sure I'm doing those things right. And I'll include some links in the description of this video to those so you can look at those if you're interested. And I'm going to essentially take Plan 2.0 and just increase the taper schedule to 3 weeks. So I'll be using, instead of prescription medications, I can't use those anymore, I'm going to be using over-the-counter medications. So I have quite a few over-the-counter things that might be able to help me, like Tylenol PM. I have extended-release melatonin. I have some CBD gummies that I'm going to be eating. This is a derivative of cannabis that's supposed to help with sleep. I also have some chamomile tea. So anything I can find that's not prescription is now in my arsenal that I can leverage. I'm going to be systematic about how I apply these, but I'm going to use them to try to sleep and come down off of my prescription medications and give my brain the time it needs to learn how to sleep again without shooting myself completely in the foot. Because frankly, this has been the most difficult part of the plan that's gone wrong, is my sleep changing like it did erratically and kind of impulsively. It's made it much harder to work out as hard as I need to. It's made it much harder for me to shoot these videos and pay attention enough during the day to actually come up with the topics for the videos. It really almost derailed everything. And so if you do this, if you choose to go off of sleep medications or do something relatively significant in your life that can have repercussions, you should probably think it through a little bit better than I did. And make sure that your motive isn't to just hit an arbitrary deadline, but actually get to the point where you're following expert advice and doing things the right way, irrespective of what your intentions are for going to this or that event or wanting to hit an arbitrary day. It just doesn't matter. And hopefully, again, this is going to work for me. I brought all the best things I can together to help me, but I know I'm still going to struggle. I have essentially almost survived sleep deprivation for about a month. The first week when I was tapering off the meds, not so bad, but after that it's been about 3 weeks of hell. And the last 2 weeks in particular have been really, really difficult. I did learn through this experience, though, that mistakes are not wasted. This failure, or perceived failure, so to speak, taught me that I am incredibly strong. I have, done amazing things with very little sleep and been able to keep my mind pretty much intact. I have not gotten really depressed. I've had a few incidents where I've lost control of my emotions a little bit, but not to the point where I was doing it outwardly. I wasn't yelling at people. I didn't get mad at my kids. I didn't get mad at my wife. Overall, I think it's a huge success, but it really was kind of a self-inflicted wound. And so I'd advise you not to make your journey harder than it needs to be. Fighting for your life means learning from your mistakes and continuously improving your plan. You're not going to get it right on the first several tries. I guarantee it. If you find my videos helpful, please pass them along and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, keep fighting for your life.